And welcome back. I'm talking here with Steve Concioldi. He is, of course, with the Orange County Fire Authority. He's their public information officer, and nice to see you.
Thanks for having us back, Ken.
It's good to have you back. Please introduce your guest, because Angela, I don't think, has been here before.
I have not.
Welcome.
Yes, Angela's one of our best community specialists.
And one of the things you do, you get this, you work with the community, you get some information out, but also I see you brought along a smoke alarm. It's about preparing yourselves, staying safe at your home, and the things that you need to do.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of it is, a lot of people call us, one of my roles is I'm an education specialist.
Yeah.
So people want information, they want to be educated, they're not sure, and they ask and they'll call us about what to do. I get a lot of requests, we receive a lot of requests for fire extinguisher, how to use a fire extinguisher, and such. And one of the things I'm always trying to explain to them is that, well, I really don't want the fire. We don't, as a fire agency, we don't want the fire to start in the first place.
Right, yes.
Right? So what can we do to actually make sure it doesn't happen at all? But there are those times when things happen that are completely beyond our control, so there are the safeguards like a fire extinguisher knowledge and making sure that we have the working smoke alarms, right? So we brought one in just to kind of show everybody this is a smoke alarm. It's a great tool, it's an insurance policy, but it's only as good as, I think one of the things I point out to people often and citizens is that just by virtue of it being there doesn't mean it's working.
Right.
We have to actually test it,
Yes.
we have to maintain it, just like we do our vehicles and cars to make sure that it's going to keep us safe. So we ask people to test them, and we often go into schools and explain to children, because I know that they're going to go home and teach their families to press and hold. And then we also, the other part is, we're asking people now to also look on the back of the smoke alarm, and on the back of the smoke alarm is when, I always call it, when it was manufactured. And you can see it's very, very tiny, as you can see. So when was that one manufactured?
This is December 2010.
And yes. And
December 2nd, 2010.
And smoke alarms right now have a shelf life of about 10 years.
Ah.
So many people think that by virtue of just putting it up, it's going to be good for another 10 years. Actually, that one's only good till 2020 at this point.
Yeah.
So because the
interesting.
sensor inside breaks down over time. So
That's good to know. We talk about the changing of the batteries in this, and the easiest way is usually, when you change your clocks. I actually have on mine, we have three actually. One is hardwired, and then we have two similar to this, and I actually put a little sticker on the outside, to say when I put that battery change and I put the date on. But people might be confused. They go to buy these, they're available all over, and there's different brands. Now, this is a Kitty, there's First Alert, there's all these kinds. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but is there a difference in the brands, or do they have to meet all certain requirements? Because you can go, these are on sale for $12, here's one for $20, and you might be thinking, I'm going to spend $20 on one because it costs more, it must be better. Is there a minimum or something, a standard that they all must meet?
Well, when they sell them in the stores, they meet the standard.
Okay.
And so any of them are great.
Okay.
The thing is that we always recommend you change the batteries when we change the time.
Right.
So in the fall and the spring, fall back, spring ahead. And then again, like she said, 10 years, we want, so a lot of homes like that. And we had a significant fire the other morning in Santa Ana where 2 people lost their lives.
Oh, wow.
Fortunately, the smoke alarms went off and alerted the caregiver and some of the other residents, as well as a neighbor down the street. These are loud.
Yes,
so
they
when
are.
they go off, people hear them. And it allows crucial seconds for the people inside to get out safely. And so the caregiver was preparing food in the kitchen, and she heard a smoke alarm go off in another room. So she immediately went there to investigate. She saw a fire. She started getting the other residents out.
This was a resident community, right? A senior resident
this
community?
was it was in Santa Ana, and it was a regular home, a single-family home, and it was for special needs. So there were over 5 special need adults in there, anywhere between 30 and 60 years of age. And so unfortunately 2 of them lost their lives. They were sleeping when the fire occurred, but it alerted the other residents to get out. It alerted her, and the neighbor came. He was able to help get some of the residents out as well.
Okay, so again, whatever brand you buy, Some of them have maybe additional features. Some have carbon dioxide built in.
They do.
Some will or say, well, it'll be different sensitivity to, you're cooking something in the kitchen and things like that. But any one you buy is going to do the job.
It is, and what you'll see,
And that's good to
this
know.
one, for instance, has a 10-year battery in it. So it is
Really?
basically the whole idea behind this, and it's a lithium
Wow.
battery. Lithium, so what you'll do is you'll put it up at the whole unit, and you'll never change the battery. You'll take
That
the
is
unit
great.
down. And so I'm sure the price differential, like you
Yeah,
said, you'll
but
find them. Those ones would be.
That's well worth it.
Right.
Yeah, you just have to remind yourself 10 years from now,
Put your sticker, right?
put your sticker on there. And, but that's great.
Right, and we get a significant number of fires. So Orange County has 23 cities and the unincorporated areas of Orange County. And just in the month of December, we had 155 fires.
Wow.
That is a large number of fires. 21 of those were cooking fires. So that's why we stress never leave anything unattended. If
Yeah.
you start something on the stove or you're cooking something, you need to stay with it. If you have to answer the phone, go attend to the kids, go do something, you need to turn it off.
Yeah,
before
because
you
those
leave.
are 100% preventable. I know sometimes there are fires that might be electrical wiring in your walls or something. There's not too much you can proactively
Right.
do about that. But this is something it can be 100% resolved.
Exactly.
Just by being conscious about what you're doing there. And I've said this before, I cook a lot at home, and quite often I'm standing there in the kitchen and while something is actively going, and just kind of waiting there and doing things like that, unless it's it's in the oven and slow cooking or something like that. But I'm there. I don't when the flame's on is as much as I cook, I'm there. I'm
Right.
watching it.
And the thing about the electrical fires, that's why we encourage the surge protectors
Right.
and circuit breakers. But last month when we were on, we talked about a fire in Westminster where a cord was pressed down under.
Yes.
Would that happen again here? Possible. That's
Yeah.
what we're thinking. Basically, an electrical cord was under something heavy, a desk, a chair,
Right.
and what happens, it gets pinched, and so it produces a lot of heat right there, and then eventually it burns through and it catches the carpet or something combustible on fire. So we want to make sure all electrical cords are in an area where they can't have anything on top of it pressing them down.
Okay. Just recently, and I don't know if it was the first or second.
Yeah,
already.
January 1st.
Yeah, the Holy Gem Fire. If people
Right.
don't know where that is, that's up in Trabuco Canyon. It's very near where we live. And in fact, we came home that evening, I don't know what time it was, 9:30, 10 o'clock, and we noticed the helicopters up,
Right.
and we were kind of wondering what was going on. And then we could smell a little bit of the smoke because we're not far from there. Talk a little bit about this. And first of all, thank goodness this was not a high wind day.
Right.
It was very calm that evening, which was really good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, a fire started in a cabin. There are some beautiful cabins
Yeah,
out
there
there.
are.
It is remote. This was actually, the fire started in what's considered Upper Trabuco Canyon.
Right.
And actually, the name of the little canyon for the locals is West Horse Thief Canyon. That's
Okay.
how they know
Yeah, I
it.
know what you're talking about.
And
yeah.
so basically it splits. To the left goes into Holy Gem, to the right it's Upper Trabuco Canyon. So it started in a cabin. It is so remote out there that it took our ground units a little bit to get out
Oh,
there.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
you've been out there on that road.
Yes, yeah.
It takes a while. Fortunately, our helicopter can fly at night. And they made some significant drops early, because when the fire started, you could see this is intense.
Yeah.
It spread from one cabin to the next cabin, and then it spotted in 3 different areas. And some of those spots occurred mid-slope up on the side of a hill, which would be very difficult to get to. So fortunately, our helicopter was able to fly at night. Inbound to this fire, they stopped at Irvine Lake, picked up a load of water, and came in and knocked the fire down. So this fire could have had a significant impact to the area
Yeah.
if it would have had some wind. Now, it does get windy out there. In the
Yeah,
evenings, we
yeah.
have down canyon winds. So the winds did throw the embers into different areas that caused spot fires. But fortunately, the helicopter was able to make some significant drops, and then our ground crews worked feverishly through the night to make sure all the spot fires were out.
Speaking of winds, you have what's called the Fire Corps program, where you have retired folks that keep on the watch in canyons during red flag warning days.
Right, so it's the Fire Watch program.
Yeah.
And these volunteers are with a few different agencies, but like OC Parks, they're one of the big agencies, and we recommend people volunteering. It's a great volunteer venue where what they do is when we have our high wind warnings and our red flag warning days, they sign up and they go on patrol. Basically, they're in any of the canyons, they're in certain areas, and they have a magnetic sticker they put on the side of their car. This is Fire Watch, and they're just the eyes and the ears. They're making sure nobody is starting a fire, or there's a vehicle fire. If a vehicle pulls over, they could call right away, or if a vehicle is driving, and sometimes they have mechanical problems, they're throwing off pieces of their catalytic converter, and we get fires from that as well.
Yeah.
So basically, it's like the old tower, the person in the tower, but they've made a significant impact on some of the fires because they're able to alert us right away when they see smoke.
Yeah, and I've also read recently, or I've actually seen on the news, that I don't know if this is going on with you folks, but I've seen in other areas they have almost what they call quick response strike teams now to get to these places quickly.
Right, so what we do is when we have high fire danger days, we at certain times we will upstaff. So we'll put strike teams in place, and we'll add an extra helicopter. We'll make sure all our dozers are staffed, all of our water tenders are staffed. So this past year we've had more fires than we've had in the past, but they've been smaller in acreage because we're able to attack it. And this is statewide. We've been very aggressive with our helicopters, with air attacks, with the planes we have, and then just getting boots on the ground, firefighters there. Because what happens is when we have these fires, there's normally a number of fires going. So resources are thinner, but if we could get to a fire quickly, we're able to extinguish it before it grows rapidly.
You're right, exactly. Well, great information. Angela, it's been a pleasure having you on.
Thank
Do
you,
you do go out and do seminars?
I do.
So maybe something can be arranged to come into this community and do something. That would be wonderful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it'd be quite helpful, and you can go over all the different types of smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors and all those different things. And as you were talking about safety in the home with extension cords and things that we've seen fires in this community due to that, too much stuff plugged in. Great to have you on, and we'll see you again in about a month or so, right?
Thanks, Ken.
All right.